Welcome, everybody, to an episode of Fantasy in Progress, the Final Fantasy podcast for Point in Progress. After a long hiatus, we're back for another episode. This one's gonna be This is gonna be broken out into two episodes. We're gonna break this down from the middle of Dawntrail to we're gonna do the first half of Dawntrail, and then we're gonna do the second half of Dawntrail, because there is such a distinct point in the story that we take such a weird turn. So we just thought, you know what, let's just go right from one half and then do another episode for the second half, because I think we'll have a lot to say about the first, and we'll have a lot to say about the second. But welcome to everybody. I am your host Harv. With me we have Frank. How you doing, Frank?
Yo, what's up? It's PogChamp. PogChamp's back.
The PogChamp is back. Heck,
PogChamp's
yeah.
back shooting people.
Yeah, heck yeah. So it's out of the people that play Final Fantasy at Point in Progress, we're the only two people that finished a story so far.
Yeah,
and
a lot's changed. A lot's changed in the Final Fantasy world since we were last here.
Yeah, because it was such a long time between expansions, you know, and we ended up not doing the patches as well. I think we just didn't even end up doing the patches until a week before Dawntrail.
Yeah, actually, almost the exact same thing happened before Endwalker. I think I was rushing to get the patches done before Endwalker, and then with this same thing, it's I think it was a day off, so I had 1 day of buffer before Endwalker was we officially started.
Yeah. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Okay, we're gonna talk about Dawntrail, but before we do that, we are. I don't know what I was gonna say, but welcome to Point in Progress, Fantasy in Progress. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys like the content on the channel, hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it. We have content going up every week, 2 or 3 pieces of content every week, which is kind of crazy. We have Metal Gear Solid going up. We have DC University going up. And hopefully, semi-regularly, some Fantasy in Progress, because we can talk about quite a bit of things when it comes to this expansion. So yeah, if you guys like the video, hit the like button. We really appreciate it. Before we get into the story of Dawntrail, I want to talk about leading up to it, to Dawntrail. I don't know how you feel about this, but I felt like there wasn't really a lead up to Dawntrail.
It really didn't feel like it. I felt like every DLC up to this point, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, and all that, the patch story always kind of really kind of leaned into what was going on for what's next. You know what I mean? It's kind of the main story ends kind of there. You get somewhat of an epilogue, and then we're leading into our next expansion. It didn't really feel like that this time around. It really felt like the epilogue that we got was more of let's cut off a lot of the loose trails from Endwalker, and then at the end, bam, now we introduce this character right here.
Yeah, it wasn't even loose trails for Endwalker. It was let's introduce this new story with Zero and everything, and then
Golbez of all people.
And Golbez. I do the whole Final Fantasy IV trope, and it was one of those things where everything usually ends we went through this in Shadowbringers. We went through with Heaven's Word as well. The 0.3 patches is the end of the story, fully for that expansion. That's it, right? This one went all the way to 5.5 or so.
Yeah,
and then
it goes long.
Yeah, and then we get a patch of Wuk-Lamat coming in, or somebody coming in from the New World, and we're just oh, okay, we're just going there now. That's it. We're going there
too. It's 2 or 3 missions. It's quick. She's in. We do a duty with her, and then it's oh, here's the teased Endwalker. It's oh, what?
yeah. Which is I found that very jarring, and I think that kind of set the tone for me when it comes to this expansion. Going there was cool. Tuliolol, I said that right. Tuli is a very, very cool city. What were your thoughts about the city itself?
I love the way it's structured. I love the architecture. I love the whole it's so easy to get to spots where I need to go. Unlike a place like Ulda, like coming back to the game after so long and going into Tuliyoyo and then doing all my crafting stuff and then going to places like Ulda and stuff like that, it's such a slog sometimes. Because yeah, you could use the aetherites and everything, but just like the whole city, just the way it's like structured now, it's just like I can get there so much quicker in Thule than almost every other city now. It's pretty nice. I like it. I like the music in the area, the vibe it's going for, that like South American, like kind of old school Aztec kind of look. I like it. It's a pretty cool little area that they dreamt up there.
Yeah, I like it I like it too. The music is too much for me. I had to replace the music. I replaced it with Charlene music for the daytime. I like the nighttime theme a lot. I agree. I think that you kind of see their level design and like their city design just kind of progress as like the expansions go, and like it gets better and better as you go.
Yeah, definitely, and especially in this city, because it's like everything's just so conveniently placed in areas where you would probably like all your crafting's in one area, the board's very close by, hunting is literally right next to all of it, by the way, even your retainers, which is super nice because there's some areas where I'm like I gotta walk all the way over there for hunting and then all the way over there for crafting. It's like everything's right here.
That was a problem with like Ratzat Han and Old Charlotte, where like the hunt board was like way the fuck down wherever it is, and then the market board. Yeah, and the market, like it was by the pier, and then the market board is by the aetherite. It's just like there's just so much running around that you had to do.
And yeah, again, you could use aetherites, but sometimes you just want to run around. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you want to look at the areas you're in. And yeah, Tuliyoyo, I think so far was like probably the best one. I've stayed there for hours because it's just like everything you need's right there. The board's right behind you. Your retainer's right there. Your mending is like down, like not even far away. Super nice, super convenient. I really like the design of that area.
Yeah, they have the whole. It's all consolidated into like one little area there, which is really really cool. But yeah, and then like I said at the top, we're only going to the first half, so we're not gonna do any spoilers for the second half of the story. We're gonna try not to spoil it because I was gonna I was gonna say like Solution 9 and stuff like that. We're not gonna get to those places, and we're not gonna talk about them. We're just going all the way up to a certain thing that happens at the halfway point. So this is going to be spoilers for the first half of the story. So we start off in this expansion with Wuklamot, and we try to help her become Dawn Servant. That is the whole thing.
We're her champions, I believe.
Yeah.
She coins us.
And this is the introduction of the Mamooks. So the Mamooks have been a thing in Final Fantasy since I want to say 11. They were in those games, which they're very rare twin-headed race. Like they're either single head or twin-headed, and it's very rare to have a twin-headed. And I think how it goes is a luck chance. I think they were saying that you could have a twin-headed, but a twin-headed can't.
Shit.
Yeah, but a twin-headed cannot offspring another one. Is that how it works?
Their mutation just doesn't allow them to have like children of their own.
Yeah. So so they
which
can't.
Makes sense for like them being king and stuff like that. That they have to coin somebody else. You know what
I mean? So we meet Wuklamot's father.
Galul Jaja.
Which is a cool introduction. A lot of Jajas. A cool introduction. Because we kind of see like what they're all about, why he has to like kind of like, step down, why, and then we get introduction to all like the Dawn Servant people that want to go become Dawn Servant. What did you think about all the characters that we got introduced?
I thought I would hate most of them. I honestly did. I thought I wouldn't like Wuklamot. I thought I wouldn't like Galul Jaja. Actually, no, I liked Galul Jaja from the very beginning because he just wanted to throw hands. That's all he really wanted, honestly. You
mean Bakul Jaja?
No, I'm talking about Galul. Yeah, because
okay,
remember he brings a Stinian in just to like I just want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Like Bakul Jaja, I didn't think I was gonna fucking like. He was a jerk from the very get go. But like even what I always forget his name too, the Makot machinist.
Oh, Koana.
Koana. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think you would like him either because I'm like, bro,
Kona?
you're stealing my
Kona.
style.
I think Kona.
Kona.
Yeah.
Yeah. You love, bro, you're stealing my style. I'm a Makoto machinist. Get out of here, dude. But I will say though, like in this first half, they're very, a lot of them are very one-sided. In the story, they're very cut and dry, like mustache twiddling kind of evil shit.
So
you know
much,
what I mean?
especially Bakul Jaja. Like that's
Yeah.
all it is. It's literally just him chasing you and just be like, "Ooh, what could I do to mess everybody over?"
Exactly. Like I like to think of this first half akin to a giant Dora the Explorer episode, because you just have people just on an adventure doing the objective they have to do, and then these fucking mustache twiddling bastards in the background being like, "I'm gonna steal something." But for the most part, I personally think it actually works, because you're giving a lot of time to the side characters in this expansion. That's one of the big kind of controversies that's kind of leading in this expansion, is your warrior light does take a step back, and we're kind of more putting these other characters in the spotlight, right? It's their homeland, it's their conflict. You know, you're just a part of it at this point, which I personally don't mind. I'll keep it a buck. I don't really mind taking a back seat story wise if the characters that you're presenting to me are actually like, you know, fun and you're giving them the time of day and stuff like that. And I think they succeed in that, at least in the first half, and then definitely even more in the second half.
I agree to that to a certain extent. I think they gave these characters a lot of screen time, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously coming from, like you said, like it's their homeland, so they should get most of the screen time, which is great. But it is hard to juggle so many characters at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have so many scions coming in. The problem with that is like there's so many scions coming in and coming out.
Yeah,
right? They're just like,
it's hard to manage them at this point.
yeah, because like they're just coming in, they're there for like 10 minutes, and like, all right, well, peace. I'm gonna go over here, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it would have been nice to spend a little bit of time. I personally think that the first half of the story was like a Disney movie,
Yeah,
where
I can
it
see
was
that too.
very, very like Disney tropish in a way.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
could 100% be a Disney princess. Let's be real.
100%.
Like,
Yeah, 100%. The way that she acts, and I have a couple of gripes with how they kind of dealt with her. But to be honest, I do like the character Wokelwan. I think
yeah, me too.
she's a very, very well casted character. She's a very well acted, and some of her lines aren't great, but I think she did a good job at the end. Like she kind of comes full circle for me at the very end. But
Yeah.
I think with the other Dawn servant, I actually like Kona. I think Kona from the very beginning was a good character, and him taking his Charlian like knowledge and bringing it to his people, I think that's really, really, really cool.
Yeah. You've seen a little bit of the world that you've already inhabit kind of seep into the new world because of it.
Yeah, and I really, really like that. When it comes to Bakul Jaja, yeah, he's a Disney villain.
Yeah.
He's just a
He's
Disney villain.
Swiper.
Yeah. When it comes to Zoral Ja was one of the characters where I was just kind of like, I don't know you yet, because like they don't show very much of you.
He doesn't get much. Like that's why I say, like, in the beginning you get a good amount of time for certain characters. Like Koana, you basically see his full arc right here, right? Bakul Jaja, you see some of his arc here, and then the last one, you don't really see much. There's a very weird moment in this story where he kind of just fucks off and doesn't come back for a good little while.
Yeah.
And it is very weird because it's like, this is way towards the end of like this kind of arc, and it's like, oh, he's just gone now. It's like, wait, what? Like, is that just it? Like, it's over?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like, it's hard to manage all these fucking characters, man, because everybody has their favorite character in the story, right? They have, like, it's hard to give time to Thancred because there's going to be tons of Thancred people out there. Alize,
Graha.
all these other characters, Graha, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't give them more than like 5 minutes of dialogue, they're probably like, someone's gonna get mad, right? And it like you said, it's just hard to juggle all of them because, like, how do you fit Thancred into the story? How do you fit? For one, how do we even fit fucking Urianger? Like the way this man talks, like, come on, you're gonna give this man 5 minutes to speak?
Well, but I did like the way they did this, where they're like
Mhm.
Urianger and Thancred got an invitation from Kona, which is cool because they're on the
Yeah.
opposite side, right? And I think I saw it from a mile away what was gonna happen between the Dawn Servant. Like I saw probably in the first like 10 hours of doing the story, or like 8 hours of doing the story, I knew what the ending was gonna be when it
Yeah.
came to who was becoming Dawn Servant. It just made
Yeah.
it was the predictability of it. So I want to go into the next section where we go into the two new zones. We go into Urkapacha and Kazmuka, I think it's called, or Kazamuka.
Yes. Yes.
So these are the two first zones. They're split into two, where you can do one or the other first, but you have to go to both. With Urkapacha, you have the Pelu Pelus, which is 100% going to be a Beast Tribe quest line at some point.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the Vanu at the other side. So you go through all like their ways, and you kind of learn who they are, and you have to do like a big quest for them. So this is where the crack started to kind of come forth a little bit for me.
Definitely.
I don't know why they did this, but the way that Wuklamot is so that doesn't know what's happening inside of her own kingdom is kind of a red flag for me for this story.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't know how the Pelu Pelu deal with like how they do things. She doesn't know how the Vanu like greet each other and stuff like that. And she wants to like rule this place, and she's been here for her entire life. And she doesn't know these things. And I'm just like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't know how you can rule over. I mean, let's be real here. That's basically just the U.S. political system, honestly. But I don't know how you can rule over all that stuff and not know how the people live there. Like, it's just that part doesn't make any sense to me. The only thing that kind of like saves that whole thing for me is that a lot of people describe Wuklamot like a shonen protagonist, like from anime and stuff like that. Which, if you put it into that context, I can kind of get it.
I know. What is that context?
Very much like a hero type character who's kind like I wouldn't really say that they've always been gifted. They're gonna reach their main goal no matter what. But you're watching the journey from their like very beginning, and then watching them as they kind of ascend to that. Think of your like Naruto's, your Bleaches. You know what I mean?
Which yes,
really powerful characters always kind of succeeding, but you get to see that like kind of drama that leads to them being like where they finally get to. They're gonna be the strongest, but you're watching that,
which I completely get. Like, which you're completely right. That's how her whole system, like that's how she kind of gets into Dawn Servant. I just don't like the mechanism of her being pushed. I get why they're doing that, and it 100% goes like a shonen way of doing it. I just don't like the mechanism of them pushing her towards that.
Yeah, like even the whole time, I actually thought they were gonna 180, and there was just gonna be no Dawn Servant, like because of that. Because ultimately, throughout the whole thing, all these people are kind of unqualified to do this, right? Like you look at Kawada, it's just like you don't really care about the people, you care about the technology. Yeah. Like Wuklamot just cares about the title of getting to it, not necessarily like what comes with it, right?
Well, she just wants
she
peace.
doesn't really understand.
She just wants peace for everybody.
Yeah, she just wants everybody to be happy, but she doesn't realize what the price of peace, you know what I mean? And obviously Bakul Jaja just wants to be a warmonger. And then the last one, I still don't understand what his initial motivations were. I don't really understand. I understand him now later, but his initial, like, I guess it was the two-headed dynamic with him and his brother, where his brother was the reason and he was the strength.
Yeah.
Once that dynamic kind of shifted, he becomes very like one-sided for a little bit until he does what he does in the second half. But yeah, all of them are just unqualified. So I thought at first, like by the time we got to the end of this, they would all like be like, "Oh, I learned a lot," but I realized that I'm not ready to do this. You know what I mean? And then we would probably get like later on type shit with them. You know what I mean? We were horribly wrong, by the way.
Yeah. They ended up. Like I said, I kind of saw that one coming after a while. I was just like, yeah, well, the two of them are good because like when you see Kona and you see Woklamat together, you're just like, yeah, they're both gonna become Dawn server. That's just
yeah.
You can see
there's
that.
a very distinct moment where it's just like, yeah, these people, like that is the Koana is the reason she is the strength, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can't have two heads, why not just have two Dawn servants, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that there's a very big shift in the story from when these guys go from blubbering idiots who don't really know their own land to, oh, okay, maybe now you're kind of ready. It's very quick though. I don't think I like that. I don't like how quick it's like, oh yeah, now these people are like top of the leaderboard 100% ready to go. And it happens almost within like 5 quests. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's the pacing of this expansion is not great. So once we go through like the Pelu Pelu stuff and the Vanu Vanu stuff, which again I like the way that they just don't like, she just doesn't know how her kingdom works or like who the people are and stuff like that.
She's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, it's just like you've been living here your entire life. Like I feel like you should know these things at this point. Or at least, like, and I know she says like I was very young when I came out here and stuff like that, but like still like you should have some sort of like like some sort of idea because like your whole goal is to rule, but you should have this like I feel like this character should have this information way beforehand.
Or at least like know a little bit more than that.
Yeah, exactly. We get a lot of like back and forth, and then we get a lot of back and forth between the two of them. Kind of like, and then we just kind of go grab some badges. We gotta go grab some Pokemon badges.
We do some Pokemon a little bit. Yeah. We're gym badging now.
Yeah, and then this is all going to the Golden City. Like all our progress is all going to the Golden City. Which
they reveal that the Golden City's real.
Yeah.
And
officially real because
Galul
Jaja has seen it before.
He's like, I seen it with my own eyes. It's real. You go find it, and you will go find the One Piece. See, this is what I mean by the shonen shit, right? Like, go find the One Piece, and you too will rule the Seven Seas or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. No, that sounds about right. Yeah. So we go through and do some very mundane quests. I
very like if any of these expansions ever showed me the Final Fantasy 14 kind of formula where you get to an area, you meet its people, you go to one spot, you go to another spot, you go to this spot, and then now the map is all of a sudden open. Like, it's very like cut and dry this time around.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it is very by the books. And the characters that we meet in each of the regions, I don't find them very compelling.
I can't really think of any of the side quests in any of the regions other than obviously Shaloni, which we'll get to.
Yeah, well, that was jarring to me. Because they all have American accents.
It's very cowboy, which speaks to me. Funny enough, they're all Makotes and they're all cowboys, which is hilarious because PogChamp has been like a Makote cowboy since like day one.
Yeah, which is kind of that's crazy that you nailed it because I think all of them are.
Yeah, it's cool. Is this my homeland? Is this PogChamp? Is this where PogChamp comes from?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I can't think of an area that was very like that stood out to me the most other than the underground kind of blue lit. I can't remember the name of it for some reason off the top of my head.
You're talking about Mamook.
Yeah, Mamook. The Mamook area.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
That was a very beautiful area.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Yeah,
its story is probably the best one out of all of them.
Yeah, the story is probably the best, but this also comes into the point where I think this is a very Disney-esque starting or like a Disney-esque starting to expansion because we don't delve into these things too much. We're very surface level with them. It was very jarring for me when we were doing this. It was just like everything we do is kind of surface level, and we don't really dig deep into like any of like the main conflicts that are happening. We could jump into the Yaktel and Mamook things, where we have So like the Mamook people have like I forgot how they say it. They have like generations of, is it euthanization of their people?
I
Of
think so.
right of of all like their it was something with like their kids or something like that, and then it's just like
Yeah.
it's like a big cycle of that, and we don't explore it.
Yeah, it's very like, oh, this is what happens. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, which is so
Yeah.
it's just like this is like the perfect time for us to talk about this, like why the Mamook and like Bakul Jaja and stuff are going through these things. Why are
Mhm.
they like the way they are? And I feel
Yeah,
like we
because
just don't give it enough time.
they give small little sprinkles throughout the story. I think the only real big sprinkle you get is like after Bakul Jaja like gets defeated by Wuklamont, he has like a flashback, but I'm like, there's no context for that flashback. So every time I've ever seen anybody ever see that scene, they either ignore it or they just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like I get what you're doing like thematically in the story. Like we'll eventually figure out like, oh, that's the flashback he's having, but like it's just there, it's so random, you know what I mean? Like here's what happens, okay, now we're just gonna move on from that and go back to the Wuklamont story.
Yeah, and like I know Square Enix like really can do deep stories. They can do dark themes. And this would be
We've
a
seen
very
it.
yeah, we've seen it like firsthand. And I feel like this is a very dark thing to experience because of what this race has gone through for so long. And this is like generational stuff. Like this is not like something that's happened recently. But then they're just like, yeah, we could just do this, and then everybody's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it that way. It's
Yeah.
like what? No. Let's talk about this, and let's have a discussion of like why this is happening and what other options we have, or and like discuss like what will happen if this happens and stuff like that. It's like no, we just kind of
Yeah.
like brush over it.
It's just like, oh hey, we did this thing so we can get out of this underground kind of thing and actually, you know, be able to see the sky and shit like that. But we do it by killing people and doing eugenics, and then one day we'll champion a hero, and then immediately after finding that out, it's just like, yeah, let's go back to the palace.
Yeah, eugenics is what. Yeah, that's what. Not eugenics. Yeah, exactly. It's just. Yeah, it's a very missed opportunity when it comes to this, which I think there's a lot of missed opportunities. The one thing I did like was the interaction between Wuklamot's father and her.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Yeah, her
father.
biological father. I really liked how they did that because we know that she isn't like at the time when it happened, I was kind of like mad about it a little bit, or kind of like annoyed by it, where I was just like, that's your that's your father. You would have a bigger reaction. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, it's not really her father anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right? Gulu Jai Jai is actually her father.
She respects him and everything like that as like, you know, a person, even maybe even more as just a person. But it's not like, you know, she never had a dad or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I have a father. Like I still got raised by a really cool man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we get the story of why he had to let her go and stuff like that, which is great. And it's a cool way of them kind of like telling us where she comes from, but like father isn't always like blood related, right? It's like who actually was there for you and who actually raised you and stuff like that, which I really like. Yeah. Like I said, there are great features.
More into that, when they do patches and stuff like that. I feel like those two are going to get a little bit more screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that with what happens at the end of this like half here.
Like I said, I like how they did this. There are good moments. Like there are great moments between Wuklamont and characters in this story, but then it always gets bookended by something either they don't talk about or it's her throwing up somewhere. And it's like It's like
she goes full pro tag and just like
Yeah.
just does some wacky shit. That's the thing, man. It's I think what the big problem of this DLC is that it doesn't know what tone it really wants to go with, right? Like you can explore the eugenics thing, you can explore the price of war and stuff like that within these stories, because they do it very briefly. It's just done really quickly for moments that are goofy and funny, which I like those moments. I like both of those moments. I like a moment when characters can get a little goofy, and I like it when you go get really serious. It's just so jarring to always have that big kind of sad or crazy or mad moment, and then immediately, throw a joke in there and stuff. It's very like Marvel writing, and it's
that's how I look at it too. And like we know they've like one of my favorite stories of this game is Garlemald. I fucking love the Garlemald story, and I was hoping that we would get to that level again at some point, because like the Garlemald story really kind of hits hard, especially now as well, because you're people that have been served propaganda for your entire life about who other people are. And it's just playing all the time, and you're trying to break their way of thinking of outside people. And you just
see the Mamook area, right?
Yeah, like, it is. It's exactly that.
Actually.
Yeah, it's exactly that, right?
Yeah.
And then you go through this whole Garlemald could have been its own expansion of how much shit was happening over there, and seeing that and going through that whole story and actually like giving them a different alternative like way of thinking about people was awesome. And I was hoping we'd get like that kind of depth with Mamook, at least, because the problem with Mamook is like it is also a split zone, so like you have a whole different story up top and you have a whole different story at the bottom.
Yeah. Honestly, some of the most annoying fucking areas to get through were the first few. Because just the way the terrain is, like you have that up area and the down area.
Yeah, and Arcopacha has that.
Yeah, especially if you're a crafter going through that shit. I was like, sometimes when we had lull periods in the story, I'm like, I'm gonna go get this item, and then I go there and it'd be like, one's up here, one's up here, one's down here, the node's over here. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing this bullshit till I have flying.
Yeah,
like this is
I had to get people to like send me stuff from a different server, because they're already done. So yeah, it was interesting. Going through that area and trying to go through it and trying to figure that out. Like even the dungeon, I thought there'd be more to the dungeon. There wasn't really not for I think it's called the Sky Cenote, I think it's called, or something. Didn't really give us too much. Before we get to because I think we're gonna go back to Thule, I think, and then we're going to Shaloni after that, I think. But before we go there,
we finished we do get to see the ending of the Dawn Servant stuff.
Yeah, before we get there. We go do Villagomez. We do all that stuff in Urcopacha, right? Isn't that afterwards? Or is that before? That's before Yoctel, I think.
Yeah, because we have moments of like, we had a moment where Woklamat loses some of her gym badges, has to fight Bakul Jaja. Bakul Jaja runs like a little bitch, and we have a moment. Yeah, we have a moment where they eat tacos, big fat taco supremes. That's when Woklamat found out about her father, and then after that we have to fight we go down to the Mamook area to fight a what's it called? A shade of Galul Jaja.
Yeah, that's for Woklamat's thing. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, we do the Villagomez stuff where Bakul Jaja releases this beast on
that's right, dude. That is so forgettable. I forgot that even happened.
Dude, the whole giant storyline is complete nonsense.
This fucking world-ending giant thing that is of legend, and we take it out what is it? Not even 2/10 into the fucking expansion.
And it's so funny because that there's a fight coming on like this where all the Saiyans are coming in. They're like, "Yo, what's going on, man? I thought you guys were over here." Everybody's there. Like, "Oh shit." You know what?
Yeah, fuck this whole Dawn server thing. We got to stop this giant.
Yeah. Oh man, it was and the whole giant, like the whole giant stuff, like that race and
I
everything. It
forgot
was just
that even happened, dude. Like,
yeah.
I'll be real. Like, it happens so quick and ends so fast, and the repercussions are absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. All because and the funniest thing is the way that we get like their trust and stuff like that is like we saved one dude from like an attack, and he's like, "We owe you guys." It's like, what? Like, I don't know. I guess that's one way of saying you owe us. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go over that stuff. I didn't like. I like the fight itself. I think the Villagomez fight.
Remember it honestly.
Like,
I'm drawing a blank on it.
I did the extreme.
I don't remember what he looks like.
I did the extreme a lot. And you're like on like a platform. He's big red dude, and he's got like I think he's got twin heads. He does fire and ice.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Very like it happens so early in the expansion and so forgettable compared to like the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens it's after the third dungeon, so it's very very early.
Yeah.
And then we do the whole Dawn Servant stuff. The Galul Jaja stuff happens later, right?
Which one?
Where he fights Zorolja, that's later.
That is, I would say that is post the with Galul Jaja. Oh no, that happens. He fights the Shade.
No, I'm not talking about the Shade. I'm talking about when he actually fights Zoral.
Oh, like the full fight?
Yeah, the full fight.
That one would happen after the Dawn Servant stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Thule, and we do the Dawn Servant things, right? Is this where they crown the Dawn Servant?
So they go to the Mamook area. What's his name? Zorolja gets his ass beat. He's just like, man, I can't fight this thing. My dad's too powerful. And then they kind of just like say both Koana and Woklamat were just like, yeah, fuck this. We're gonna learn about your people first. Learn about the people, and then they come back, fight it, win. But they break. I don't know if they break a rule, but like they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna fight them together. Me and Koana. And that's when Koana's like, yeah, you're gonna be the Dawn Servant.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah.
He disqualifies himself. I think. Yeah, he disqualifies himself so he can fight alongside her.
Yeah. That makes okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Then we get a big cutscene. Is that the one with the Disney song?
Yes. No, that's the Disney ones when we were building a bomb.
No, it happens twice. It happens twice.
Does it happen twice?
It happens twice. It happens with the train. When we're building the train, and it also happens in the Dawn Servant section.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yes.
Damn.
And
it makes more sense in that context, honestly. Instead of the building the bomb one.
I was just like, come on, guys, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like an ending to the expansion already, and it's like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's just a weird, odd thing that it's just a weird decision. This whole expansion has been a weird decision.
It really feels like the expansion. Like, there's a reason why we're splitting this video in half, is because this expansion is 100% just split in two. Honestly, it's what the patches should have been when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, this whole Dawn Servant thing should have been a few patches. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. We're in a new area, and you have to introduce these characters. You have to introduce the world. You got to do all this. There's a significant amount of time taken up from the expansion for that, and I feel like the expansion doesn't start until after it's done.
Yeah. And it also just feels like it feels like there's two distinct writers or writing teams. They took the first half, and then the whole different team took the second half.
Yeah, the first one's very like Disney oriented and stuff like that, and the second half is like, oh, this is Final Fantasy again. Okay,
yeah,
we're back to Final Fantasy now.
Again, we'll get to the second half in a little bit. The next thing is Shaloni. One of my favorite zones. One of my favorite zones in the entire game. I had
best music too.
Best music too. Yeah, I had preconceived notions about going into here. I personally thought this whole thing was like it was just a mirage. Like, it was just one of those things where like the quote unquote government or whatever just set up as a decoy. But going there, it was interesting.
Yeah, see, like I thought for one, I thought that like it in the context of the story, I thought it was kind of weird that we're going to Aaronville's like hometown, and that's the first stop. Because if at first I thought that was his hometown, and I'm like, God damn, Aaron, you were from the trenches, bro. What the fuck? And he's like, No, this is just this is just built here. This is not. I heard they're starting a government, but like I'm like, okay, so it's been a while. This wasn't originally like this used to be like lawless. You know what I mean? Like the old west, right? Honestly, I fucking love the area though, man. It's hard to hate it just because like I'm biased towards that kind of storyline with cowboys and lawmen and stuff like that. But like I do like what they did with it because it's very much a like corruption story. Where it's just like the government's corrupted. We got to weed out the bad cops from the good cops type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one of the things that caught me off guard was the American accents. Never heard American accent in this game.
Very, very Western, old school, kind of like freeze, you little bastard. Type accents.
But yeah, it's kind of nice to get the Erengard story as well. Kind of get like a little bit like having him. So one of my main gripes with the entire expansion was like I think is like we dealt with Wooklamont way too much in this expansion. There's a thing that I heard somebody say is like, I can't miss you if you're always there. Yeah. Right? And I feel like that's Wooklamont. You're always there. So it's nice to get a little break from it all.
She's basically a Scion at this point. The amount of screen time she has.
Yeah, exactly, which is crazy. But yeah, it was nice to take a break and let Erenville take the reins for a while through this zone. And experience like all the different stuff that's happening there.
Yeah, to see where he comes from, you know what I mean? Like we've only known him really as the Gleaner, and he's kind of given little ripples of story here and there and stuff like that. And we're finally starting to see like, hey, this is where you hail from and stuff like that. I feel like he was always gonna be that character at some point, just because like when he's introduced into the story, I think he's introduced in Endwalker. Right? Yep. Like he's not like a mainstay character for very long.
We see him in Labyrinthos for the first time, and we turns us into frogs or something, or we turn into frogs. We have to like eavesdrop in his conversation. Yeah.
I feel like he was always Square Enix's like, okay, this is gonna be our like kind of usher into the new worlds and stuff like that. But when we get there in the story, obviously we got to give him some time as a character. But I'm glad they finally when they finally do go to Erenville, that story starts to get very interesting. The whole story starts to get a lot more interesting than Wooklamont.
I feel like the turn starts happening here, where we start seeing other things happening at the same time, and we see there's a bigger problem happening, or there's an overarching story over the Dawn Servant stuff. There's other things that are going on, because we also see when you're going through the zone, we see little patches of like those like electricity things around as well, what you find in like Heritage Found and stuff, and it kind of is an interesting way of like, it's like, okay, there's something else happening. This is we're not in fucking Urkapacha anymore.
Yeah, there's that moment you remember Koana just being like, oh yeah, everything around me is so fucking primitive, I need to come here and change it. And then you start seeing what looks like elegant technology at first, and I'm like, okay, something's not right here, right? Like, because they have technology, they're just not utilizing it.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go through all the whole process, and I like it. It's good to see Estinian kind of like do his own thing here finally.
Yeah,
we finally see him
being a nomad, wandering around. You know what I mean? Also, you know what I noticed in this DLC? Now that I remember it, a lot of the trailer is in the game, which I don't think they've done really in the other trailers for this game, because like Endwalker has some scenes where like that never happened in the trailer, and then this one, the boat ride is in the game. The what's it called? I keep getting their fucking names mixed up. Galul Jaja fights in there, where the Warrior of Light's fighting Galul Jaja. There's a scene for that. There's a scene for the tacos and stuff like that. Like almost everything in that trailer is in the game, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. They tend to do that quite a bit. I feel like Endwalker was the same way too, with when you see Alize and Alphino and yourself fighting the.
Oh yeah, the fake out like death scene.
Yeah. So so like that whole with the red dragon thing coming in and like that is also in there, but they just put it more gameplay focused than anything else. Which is cool. But yeah, I really like this stuff. We go through all of that, and then I don't know where. So my break point for this is going to be the death of Galul Jaja. That'll be the break.
I was trying to skate around the fact that he's gonna get fucking canned at the end here.
So we go through all the stuff in Shaloni. It's a very, very interesting place. I like it. It's one of my favorite zones of the entire game, honestly. I like how open it is as well, which is nice. There's no fucking wall. There's no like hills or anything. It's
fields.
Just
there's some hills, but it's like nothing you can't jump onto and then go around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the music in that area is so fucking good too. The night music in Shaloni is probably some of my favorite to hear.
Yeah. Then we find the whole Vanguard stuff that happens.
Yes.
Tuliyoyo
gets invaded.
Yes.
Almost immediately after getting a new Dawn servant.
Yes. And we figured out that Zorolja is part of this army as well. And we figure out, I don't know if we figured out, do we figure out in Vanguard what their whole process is with their souls? Or is that later?
That's later. So
that's later, right?
At this point, fucking go, like everybody's coming in. They're highly teched out.
Yeah.
Right. Like big contrast between like the fucking Aztec kind of like old school with the like super uber, even more uber than our world, right? Charlatan and all that, more like years ahead in technology. Just fucking gunning people down and everything like that. Is worth mentioning too at this point. Bakwul Jaja is actually a homie.
Yes. He
right
did
after,
the turnaround,
right after we found out the eugenic stuff, we kind of forgive him, and so we understand why he's kind of the way he is, right? So at this point, he comes in, he's just like, yeah, I'm saving people. You know what I mean? He's looking like a hero to even the people of Tuliyoyo, right? Even though he's been like outcasted by the Mamooks. But yeah, you see, literally a day after her coronation, like a few days maybe, but. Yeah, they're already getting invaded. People are dying in the streets. We see them take souls, I believe. Like,
yeah, but we don't know what it is actually, right?
Yeah, we see that they're pulling ether out of people's bodies, like it's fucking Dune or something. And we see like a upgraded what is it? I always forget his damn name. There's so many goddamn Jajas. Zorolja. There you go. Yeah. We see Zorolja just decked out and like he looks bigger. His skin is more purple and he has like technology all over him. Right? Something definitely happened because we see him kill his brother. And his brother, I guess, while we were fighting Galul Jaja in like the Spectre thing, while we were doing that, in the background, he was stealing a key from the vault in Tuliyoyo, and then in the epilogue of the like coronation, we see that he opens the door that they found for the Golden City with the key, or something talks to him.
Yeah.
And the door opens, right? And then the next time we see him, by the way, he kills his fucking brother right there, which again, mustache twiddling kind of move there. Because honestly, I don't know why he does it, because his brother was kind of like on his side the whole time. Like he was giving him good advice for the most part for his journey, right? And then he just kind of offs him and then throws him down into like this like ancient well or some shit.
Yeah.
And the next time you see him, he's a little bit beefier. He's more purple and he has like armor now. So something happened between that time period, but it happened so quick that it's kind of jarring until they explain why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they attack Tuliyoyo, right? That's when they attack Tuliyoyo, and we get pretty much everybody. I think the entire places get like invaded, right? Like Shaloni gets invaded.
I think it's just Tuliyoyo. It might just be Tuliyoyo. I don't remember. Actually, you might be right on that because I don't remember Shaloni gets invaded.
Well, people come towards Shaloni, because I know
because the cowboys start fucking gunning them down.
Yeah, and then Estinian is there with them as well.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to remember if there was cutscenes of the other areas fighting back.
I want to
You know what I mean? The first two, like the Mamooks and the other, the beaked people. I don't remember their name.
That I don't remember. I don't actually. I don't think so.
Yeah, it might have just been because Tullio is like right there, right next to Shaloni, so it might just be those two areas.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Got invaded.
Yeah. Then we get the fight between.
Yeah.
This okay. This is gonna be the last thing we're gonna talk about. It's gonna be the death of Galul Jaja.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hated this so much.
Yeah. It's very
not
quick,
because
very annoying.
Not because I'm so sad that Galul Jaja is dead. I saw that one coming from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that our characters did fucking nothing, and we just stood there watching it happen in front of us.
We've brought back people from like the brink. You know what I mean? There was a time when Alizé almost got cut in half, and we still brought her back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not even about bringing her back. It's all happening in front of us. Can we not just like go like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna fight with Galul Jaja. No, we're just gonna stand there and wait for this to happen.
Yeah, let them run the ones. Let them have their one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like, no, motherfucker, jump in there.
Especially if the guy
jump in there.
Especially if the guy's cheating. He presses a button and he's like Super Saiyan 4, and we're just like. Yeah, that's cool.
To be fair, Galul Jaja had him in the first half because he does beat him.
Yeah.
It's the Super Saiyan like Berserker mode that kills him ultimately, just because they just didn't know. But I'm like, yeah, I agree. It's just nobody stepped in, and then even when he's like on his deathbed, they're like trying to heal him, and they're like, "There's no use," and it's like, how do you know that? You're not even the one healing him. Shut up.
Yeah, this is where I feel like the Echo would have been great. An Echo moment would have been awesome. We're like, because we have the Echo, we know what happens in the past or what's happening. We could everything could have happened. We could have got there, and then we get like a vision of what happened. Would have been great. This would have
Jaja or whatever Zarul Jaja really quick, like in his new form, and then him fucking off, and then we find out.
Yeah, then we find out. Yeah, exactly. That would have been great because that would have like told us like, oh, it's already happened. He's dead or he's dying or something, right? That would have been great, but we're all just standing there going, the entire time. It's like yeah, like what the fuck, man? Just go, do something. I hated this so much,
man. Fuck.
I hated it so much. And it's like it's sad that he's dead, but like, let's be honest, we fucking saw that from a mile away happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists in here that are just mile away like guesses too that you can easily figure out like at the beginning, like. One of the ones that stood out to me the most, I think it's well done this way, but like it's still pretty fucking obvious, is his brother being dead the whole time. The other head, because they say at the beginning, they're like, oh, well, the other head's just sleeping. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then like there's a scene where when you're fighting Galul Jaja, he does the little fireball thing, right? And he looks to his brother and goes, oh yeah, right. And it kind of like depowers itself a little bit, right? And then you see later on when you're fighting like the young version of him, he does the same thing, looks to his brother and then doesn't say anything, and then immediately the fireball gets bigger, right? That's the moment it's like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's been dead the whole time. It's a cool little like if you pay attention moment, but like it's so painfully obvious the first time he even mentions it that the thing is fucking dead, to the point where the characters where he reveals it, he's like, my brother is dead. Everybody in the room's like, yeah, we know.
No, we kind of saw that one coming there, bud.
Yeah, we like let's be real here. As soon as Stola walked in, she probably was just like, yeah, half of your ether's gone, dude. Like,
yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah. So yeah, then that happens, and I think at that moment we get, after the death, we have the actual like moment where we're gonna go to Heritage Found and stuff like that, right? That's
we
where
do a little rebuild. Again, one of those things where it's just like kind of necessary, kind of unnecessary, because we're just walking around talking to people and just telling them that everything is going to be okay. Perfect moment to have this conversation here that you just did a new Dawn servant and a lot of people died. Nobody's questioning if she's the right one for the job, or even Koana in that respect, because a lot of people just died and you guys just got invaded, and it's kind of rectified by your character walking up to people and going, "Yeah, everything's gonna be okay." But
yeah. This random outsider that's just here. Don't worry, buddy. We got it under control.
yeah, everything's under control now. Even though it didn't, we obviously didn't have it under control 20 minutes ago. Everything, your old king is dead. Your place has been invaded. A lot of people are dead, and it's gonna be okay.
It'll be fine. You'll be fine.
It's gonna be okay. Also, the person who killed him was another Dawn servant. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, another Dawn servant nominee was the one.
It's even creepier is that the ships are still looming in the air. They're like right there.
Don't worry, guys. We got this.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah. The other thing was like I forgot to mention is like we found the entrance, I think, to the Golden City, or at least an entrance somewhere. And then we got pulled back from it. To do all this other stuff with Gulul Jaja and stuff like that. So like
that's when they reveal like they don't know how to open the fucking thing. Either funny enough, they had the key the whole fucking time.
Yeah. It's also like another painstaking point for me is like, yeah, we have all this stuff, like we're progressing the story, and they're like, you know what? We're not ready for this yet. Let's just leave and come back to this thing. It's like, come on, guys, you guys are right there.
We keep introducing this, like, I can remember his name. It's a Keta something, but like. The guy who's pretending to be another guy who is another obvious, like, yeah, we know that's you from the very get-go. Like, we know you're ketamine, whatever the fuck your name is. And he shows up every now and again. He's like, I know more than what I'm letting on, but I'm too old and I can't really tell you guys yet. And then, like, he doesn't reveal anything until like the very end. It's like, yeah, we probably could have used that information before Gulul Jaja died. Like, we probably could have saved a lot of people with this information. Yeah, everybody's just being so weirdly vague for no reason.
It kind of reminds me of so much of like TV shows that drag on for a long time, where none of the characters talk to each other and they just do shit. And it's like you guys could have solved half of these problems just by talking to each other.
Yeah, just talk to each other. So, like, it's literally a Supernatural episode. It's like, I'm gonna protect the truth from Sam.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And not say anything. Either the repercussions of me doing that are bigger than what me just saying it. From the very fucking get-go.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's a lot of that here. A lot of that towards the end too, where it's like, hey, we have all these. We're introducing new plot threads because the story isn't over, even though it felt like it was over like an hour ago at this point. I like to say in this one, it feels like there's like 3 or 4 distinct endings to it.
Yeah.
Like in this whole expansion, where like the expansion ends, but it keeps going, ends and keeps going, ends and keeps going. That this is number 1. This is the first ending.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's I think that's where we're gonna split it here, because then for the next stuff we go to Heritage Found, we do the whole Sphene stuff, and this is where I get excited. And I get more interested in it because it feels Final Fantasy. This finally feels like we're getting to a point of a story where it's actually like things are happening. I know
there's consequences and repercussions in this finally.
Yeah, and we finally figure out what the whole story is. Why Zora Al Jah has like the whole thing and all that kind of stuff. We finally figure that stuff out. I know I've talked like there's a couple of people that I was talking to about it, and they were just like, yeah, I like the first part because like, it's all chill. There's no consequence. You're just kind of doing it, which I understand, but like you can only do that for so long,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you can only kind of go through the motions for so long. You got to have an overarching story that kind of puts your characters in peril.
Yeah, nothing could ever, like, no good story is just a feel-good story, right? Like, and the first half is very much feel-good until the end, right? Like, everybody kind of comes back and has their moment of, like, oh, I forgive you, even though you did something bad. Even though one person literally set out a generational fucking monster, and then we just, like, go, yeah, it's okay. You're just what would they call him, an alpaca's ass? Like, you're an alpaca's ass. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can only do that for so long. Like, the power, we joke this whole thing about the power of friendship, but literally the whole first half of the story is the power of friendship succeeding overall almost 100% of the time. And by the end of it, it does get a little grating, I will admit. Yeah. That's why I'm kind of cool with taking a backseat as the Warrior of Light, because there's a lot of moments that I don't like in the series or in this game where it's just people constantly glazing you, and it's like, I get it, you know, I'm the strongest in the fucking universe. Let's just move on. You know what I mean?
You see that a lot in like Stormblood, Heaven's Word kind of type
Exactly.
thing. You see that there.
Yeah. And those are the ones where I'm like, yeah, I just don't want that story again. And while I do like not being glazed all the time, I do have to admit, having a story with like very little to almost no consequences was, you know, it was kind of boring. You know what I mean? In the first half, you know what I mean? I do like, I will admit though, I still liked it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, I didn't like smile throughout some of these jokes and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's the best. I think it's still better than Stormblood in a lot of ways, personally, because I could actually remember moments in this instead of Stormblood, other than Xenos.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I was thinking back to Stormblood. It's like the only thing I remember is that rooftop scene where Xenos kills himself.
And like that's it. Shinryu.
Yeah, that's all I really remember from Stormblood.
Exactly, because I don't remember shit, and like, you know, I let's be real here. Wicklemont has had her share of controversy now at this point, with characters and stuff like that. Honestly, I just think it's the same story as Hien, right? Like, except this is more of a goofy, more shonen-like character, and yeah, it's radically different for what we're probably used to. But I think overall they kind of, I still like the characters and stuff like that. I think it was pretty. I think the first half of the story has a ton of fucking problems, but you know, I still enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, again, we're not going to get to the second half, but I would be okay with them taking Wicklemont a backseat just for a couple patches, and let's talk about like stuff that happens in Shaloni. Let's talk about there's a couple of like, I'm not going to get into it, but the Kryl. Let's talk about Kryl more because like, holy fuck. She got done dirty in this fucking expansion.
Yeah, we have this big like reveal like in the patch of, like, about this letter from her grandfather, leading to maybe her origins, and then we don't really do anything with that this whole first half. She's the voice of reason for Wicklemont, honestly. Like, there's times Wicklemont's like, I don't want to do something, or I don't really understand, or I'm too like hot-headed to figure this out, and Kryl's always there to be like, yeah, this is the answer to the test. Basically just because, like, you know, from her experiences with her friends, which I kind of appreciate. But she, again, like, you had this big twist in Endwalker at the end of the patches where, like, we're going to get more information about her. And then that first half, you do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero. Same thing with Erenville, too. Absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah, Erenville also gets pushed to the end as well, which I liked Erenville's story at the end, though. I think his story comes full circle, which is awesome. But yeah, Kryl's story just kind of...
Yeah. Hopefully they get some patch time, but we'll talk about why.
Yes, we will talk about why. But thank you guys so much for joining us on Fantasy in Progress. We're gonna try to make this semi-regularly. I don't know what our play, like, I am still playing, I'm still raiding and stuff like that, but I'm not really doing much other than that. But we'll get into that later on. But next week is gonna be the part 2 for everything. Frank, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Twitters, at the TikToks, at the FrankGV, where I post my clips. Follow, like, I'm most actively probably on Twitter and TikTok more than ever right now, just because I'm gaining like a decent amount of followers and stuff like that over there. So if you want to see some of my gaming content, hit me up there. And on Twitter, you just see me talking shit about video games. I'm currently working on all the Metal Gear Solid series just backwards and getting all the achievements, because Harv here is doing something really cool with his Metal Gear Solid, which you can find us doing on Point in Progress with Mario every Thursday at, I don't know what time period to throw on here, so I'm gonna say 6:30 Central.
Yeah, just do 6:30 Central, because that's usually our go-to. But yeah, you can find me also here on Point in Progress. Yeah, we're doing Metal Gear Solid, which is just me going through every Metal Gear game, because I've never played them before. This is my first time going through them. It's been a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy this first game.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, this first game has been really fun. So I'm excited to see more of the story. I'm excited to see how it unfolds. But yeah, and Beer in the Hair pretty much everywhere else. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys like the content on the channel, hit that sub button. We'd really appreciate it. Tell us what you guys thought about the first half of the story. when it comes to Dawntrail. We're going to be doing our second half. It'll be up next week for part 2. We're going to go through all of Heritage Found. We're going to go through all of Alexandria, which I'm very interested to see what you think about Alexandria, coming from a person that I don't think has played Final Fantasy IX.
I have not. I will admit right now, since the last time we've been on Fantasy Progress, got through 7 of them, not done 8 and 9, and it sucks because I kind of wanted to get that done before this.
It's so funny that they picked 9 because you haven't done 9 yet.
Yeah, I'm like, God damn it, man! 2 games that I'm too far behind to finish before this damn expansion. They picked that one.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so we're gonna go through all of that, and then I don't know if you've done the raid content yet.
I have not. I've been waiting because I know one of our friends, Melissa, wanted to do it, and then I know you wanted to try to do it with our group, but not everyone's finished yet.
Yeah. So maybe when Melissa and you guys are ready to go, we could go through that content, and then we could talk about that because it kind of directly ties in with the story at the end. So not like complete direct, but like it takes the theme of what the main story is and brings it into the raids, which is kind of cool. But thank you guys so much for watching. Wherever you guys are, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, fantastic night, and progress has been made.
Peace.